Hi everyone, welcome to the Smashi Business Show. I am Warid Ahmed.
And I'm Richard Fitzgerald.
And today it's the 26th of February. It's the last day of Web Summit. Richard just came back from it. And so for today's topic, obviously, firstly, all about Web Summit. Secondly, we're going to tell you about this Saudi IT firm, MIS, and how they've sold their stake in OpenAI and made incredible profit out of it. And finally, international holding company is Empathy investing $1 billion into small businesses and middle-class individuals.
Empathy investment, I like it. I'm good, Ward. How are you?
I'm doing good.
I filled in your seat in Qatar with Majid. We did the live show from Doha on Monday and Tuesday, sort of day one, day two. Although Sunday, which is an opening night, is kind of like a day as well. There was a venture summit which we were part of offsite in a place called the Ned, and then there was a nighttime opening night, but they put big speakers on, and you really need to know about it to get in, because it's not like, oh, we should fly over or get there for Monday for the first day. Like, really, to get the value out of it, it is a good tip to sort of get in early, get your badge, and get in when they open the doors to go to those talks. But yeah, I'm great back now. It is day 3 in Wednesday. And apart from the main stage, the sort of side stages get rebranded each day. So, you know, stage 6 on Monday was a fintech summit. Yesterday it was marketing summit, and today is the creative summit. So each day there's different programming, different speakers. I would have loved to have been there today, would have learned a lot. But it is a really good event, and it's great for the region. The programming is a little bit global, a little bit more, so which is fine. You know, you have the CEO of Qualcomm, you have the CEO of Omnicom, John Wren, you have Jim Bancroft from Vox Media, which is up our street. You have a lot of people from the US in. Kevin Mayer spoke brilliantly the other day on media, and then you have the big names. And Ward, they have Web Summit do a lot of stuff on passes, right? They have a senator badge which gives you all access. And depending on the track that you're at, if you're a startup or a partner, you have meetups in certain area and you have lunch in certain area. There's different lounges. If you're in the media lounge, you keep serendipitously bumping into media people. If you have a speaker pass, you get into this sort of Majlis area, and it really is networking. What's the word? Like, it's just networking mania. It's just amazing. The access, unbelievable. You know, every minute I turn around and there's Malcolm Gladwell, or there's, you know, someone else. And you know, I met Motaz yesterday.
How'd that go?
Yeah, really good. It's really good. I think it's such a. It was interesting when we had a doctor from Iraq here last week on the Love and Dubai show, who'd spent a lot of time in Gaza in the hospitals. I think it's. And also, I met Palestia at 1 Billion Followers Summit. There's definitely something different about meeting people who have become, and I'm sure it's similar when people meet, say, Greta Thunberg or whatever, but when you meet someone who has fame online through troubles, per se, or through activism or cause-related, I just see something different in their eyes. It's different to meeting an influencer or a Mr. Beast or... you know, there was the guy yesterday, what's his name? The guy from Switzerland who's big on TikTok, guy with the hair with the face, who does the face thing. So he was there as well. I think when you meet, you know, singers or footballers or celebs who you know, are famous, like Will Smith, are famous in different ways, I just, you know, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I just saw a lot of, their eyes just looked, that they've seen a lot of death, and it just looked. They couldn't really celebrate the fact that they're
alive and they're here,
and also that they're receiving attention. Like, they're not sort of like they're not hustling, they're not networking, they're not trying to sell products. They're not really what we're used to as influencers, even though they have a lot of followers and they have probably real influence. But and I think you know, I think they've come in a way where they're not politicians. They're young. They're in their 20s, and they haven't sort of come into the limelight.
But people want them to be. You know, it's so interesting that you said this, Rich, because I remember at SEF, I met Palestia Al-Aqad, and I remember I did an interview with her and everything, but I didn't want to publish the interview whatsoever, because when I was speaking to her, it's like in that moment, I just felt that this person, they were so affected by, you know, the genocide that they were a part of and everything that they were a part of, and that everything we see on social media, it's not like it seems, because she always vlogs on her stories, by the way. Like whenever, they have a really good milestone in Gaza, she comes and she shares such a positive outlook on it. But then when I met her, I could just tell that, she does not want to do press, It's like I feel like they're not used to this life outside of what they are in.
Yeah.
Like it's interesting that you noticed it too, because I thought I was crazy for noticing it. I was like, wait, there's something going on here. There's something going on there.
It's a perspective, isn't it? But overall, it's great that the Web Summit has the different views on stage and their different perspectives, and they had a lot. They had different creators, they had podcasters, and it's a good event. And we're on the back of, say, we've talked about this on the show a lot, but from Sharjah Entrepreneurship Festival, from STEP Conference, from LEAP, from there was the AI Rise Up in Egypt, and now Web Summit in Qatar, and it just remains the thesis of Smashi business of telling the stories of a young cohort in the region who want economic prosperity and the rise of the modern Gulf states, the cities. Like, Qatar is impressive, and people will ask different questions about it, whatever. But I was interviewing the CEO of Invest Qatar, His Excellency Ali Al Walid Al Thani, and also on stage was a similar equivalent title to him in Startup Portugal. And they were just comparing how Portugal turned their economy around through tax incentives and others, and became the darling of Europe. And Qatar and others are trying to do that here. But I fully believe in it. Like every time I go to these places or I see what's on the ground, we're investing. We have Augustus Media in Qatar, and every year it's slow in a way because we want to go really fast, but it's incremental. We now have 3 people as opposed to 1 last year. We have an office. We did more stuff with 974 Media and the Government Communications Office this year than we did last year. It's all incremental. It's all growing, and but I have to talk about I have to talk about Luma Labs, right? Because we all know these ChatGPT, and I think let's segue this into the story in Saudi. But we all know about AI fundraising and things like that, right? And Sam Altman and Elon Musk and raising billions and billions of dollars for the GPU power for NVIDIA chips and compute training. So I interviewed on stage this guy called Amit Jain, and he was it came across one of the most intelligent people I've met in the AI space. He just was so interesting on how they're training video, generative video, right? And obviously we look at that a lot here. So Luma Labs started off as 3D modeling, and now it's very deep into video training. So they released their model called Ray 4, just like Grok 3 is a model, or just like ChatGPT 4 is a model. So Ray 2 is a model. It's 4 times better than Ray 1. How did they train it? 7 billion videos award. 7 billion videos to train an LLM to make videos on prompts, text prompts or image prompts. And if you go on the Ray 2 website, you will see examples of image to video. So, and I asked him a question. I said, but I heard of one in China, Kling. It's really, really good. He's like, it is good. It's probably better than ours, but it doesn't matter. I was like, why? Are they not going to eat your lunch? Are they not going to take? He goes, no. And he was like, almost like, no, they're irrelevant to us because no one can work with them. We're working with Netflix to make videos, make movies, Netflix. And Netflix can't work with Chinese software because all this taboo in the US
they don't
about.
Trust them.
Well, they're not. Yeah, image-wise, it's just no. Like, just don't do it. So Netflix have to work with Luma Labs, and Luma Labs raised $72 million up until Series B, a lot through Andreessen Horowitz, and now they're raising Series A. He was in Abu Dhabi last week. He says he's got he's looking for $300 or $400 million just to train these video models.
Yeah.
So isn't this amazing? So he said they've raised up to $100 million from AWS, from Amazon. And now they need the extra 400 million.
Wait, where are they based?
They're in LA. They're in Silicon Valley.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in the US. They're in the US, but they're probably around different areas. They probably have presence elsewhere.
Where's the founder from?
He's Indian, I think.
Okay.
Amit Jain, but maybe he's from the US. I'm not sure where he grew up, but.
And you came all the way to Web Summit to talk about this.
Yeah, all the way to Web Summit in Qatar, and I said that to him at the end. I said, we love video in the region, and the other guy, we love gaming, and this region has loads of sovereign wealth funds, loads of money to give you, plus it's safe. Like, when are you moving your company here? And they kind of laughed, but they didn't rule it out. But so they're raising other hundreds of millions of dollars. And the guy beside him was Timo Toke from Ready Player Me, and he said he was an investor through an SPV and Grok 3. I'm kind of like sharing information that was part of the backstage chat. So,
Okay.
but anyway, they didn't say all this stuff on stage, but no one goes deep on these podcasts anyway, right? So they won't find out that we're releasing all this info.
It's always a side conversations. But yeah, go on.
But yeah, so he basically said that Timo was asking him, what's the deal? Like, what do you need the money for? And I didn't understand this, right? We just assumed that NVIDIA's price is going up because people need to buy the chips. And then this DeepSeek thing, you can do it cheaper. And he said, okay, what he said was, I haven't researched what this means, but he goes, they're almost giving, the cloud providers, are almost giving the compute power for free. What that means is, I think, they're almost giving their training power to train all the models in the cloud for free. But then they're going to make their markup in the interference or whatever. What's the word? Interference.
You got it right the first
time.
time.
Yeah, I think so. So basically, Timo and Amit were nodding with each other like they totally understood what they meant, and I didn't know what they meant. But so there's another part to this. I just assumed that you need a lot of money to train the things. He called them train the effing things. That's what he said, right? So he needs a lot of money to train the models, right? But the clouds people aren't asking you for the compute power for the training. They're asking you for the money for the inference, whatever that is. And maybe that's like the CDN or the transcoding or the output. We're not sure. So yeah, so that was just such an interesting chat because, we talk about the rise of these companies. They come out of nowhere. They're worth trillions almost. I was surprised at how big Audio Labs is. It's a unicorn already. It's raised $300 or something million.
What do they do?
So that's the one that we use for your cloning and the voice for the podcast. So the Smashi Entertainment Show, done with Ward Ahmed, is done through, it's Audio Labs, right? That's the software.
I believe so.
Yeah, and so in a few months, I asked him, when will video be as fast as, what we're doing on ChatGPT and Grok 3? And he was like, we're getting there, end of year or whatever. So, and if Netflix are talking to them to make movies with AI computing power, what way is the world going?
But this is what I mean, and this is why I believe that, the Saudi IT firm MIS, they sold their stake in OpenAI. So essentially, MIS, they sold their stake in OpenAI for $8 million.
How did they buy the stake?
They'd actually initially bought it for $5 million.
From who?
I'm not really sure.
Because you can't buy OpenAI stuff. I was just wondering, were they part of, are they linked to PIF? Is some one coming, because he spoke at Hub 72 in Abu Dhabi, and I think he's been to Riyadh, I'm not sure. So how does someone get $5 million into OpenAI? Question one. Question two, why sell now?
I think I know why. It's because of this fact that, we saw DeepSeek, it came in, it completely shattered, the Apple Store, going to number one. And I think what it is that they're being really smart about it. They're being really smart about it, and they're like, you know what? Before Sam Altman's ChatGPT becomes irrelevant, let's just sell our stake, because you have a lot of them that are coming in. You know what I mean? The one that you mentioned. There's going to be so many AI models. I don't know if ChatGPT is still going to stand. Probably. I see why they've done it, because it has a lot of value now. So they've actually made net profit out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think, everyone uses the word ChatGPT. We don't use the word Grok 3 or DeepSeek. And it's almost like Google. And I don't know. I'd love to know the ins and outs of this. I might suspect, and I'm just completely speculating, that someone's got shares in OpenAI in Saudi, and you can't really buy many shares in it. So someone wants these shares. Someone pays these people a premium. Someone more important than MIS, I don't know, who wants these shares and says, hey, we'd like these. I can't buy them anymore from Sam Altman.
That's a good theory.
I'll give you a premium. I would say these shares are still in Saudi somewhere. I wouldn't say they've been sold back to the US. But that's just a guess.
That's very interesting. And for our final topic of the day.
Because when you hear about, how, did you hear the Prince Awaleed's interview, the couple of them that he did recently with
the
Tucker
one with
Carlson?
Carl Tucker? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you call him Carl Turkison, but it's Tucker Carlson, but it doesn't matter. I heard that on your podcast. Let's just call him Carl Turkison in the Middle East. It's cool. So, but basically, yeah, like Prince Walid is so bullish on Elon Musk, and he's right. Like when I saw Grok 3, like we pay $200 a month for the premium version of OpenAI, and I literally told the team to cancel it last night. Grok 3, yeah, it's unbelievable.
Oh, it's
It's
gone.
way faster. Grok 3 is
Okay.
so faster, and you got an app and everything. So I can see, this is XAI, right? So I can see why there's interest in that stuff in Saudi. Anyway, yeah, third story.
Oh, okay. So for the final one, it's about International Holding Company, which just so
IHC,
happens
yeah.
to be chaired by Sheikh Tahnoon, His Highness. And what they've essentially done is that they've invested $1 billion in low and middle income groups. And that the way that they've really done this, it's through one of their subsidiaries. It's called 2.0. And basically this entire investment, it's going to financial services. And it's basically going to be, it's going to be channeled actually through Cairo-based Masira Holding, which recently actually acquired 2.0. And basically their focus is on markets in Asia and in Africa. But the reason why this entire thing, it's really interesting is because it's $1 billion into financial services for, you know, the middle class or the lower class. You know, this is not something that we always see people do. I mean, recently we did see Sheikh Mohammed, in light of like the Ramadan spirit, he gave out this, I think it was a $1 billion fund. But, you know, it's great to see that they're doing something like this, especially financial services. I mean, Rich, I know you're educated in it and I'm educated in it, but you would not believe the amount of people who are not educated in financial services.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
So how do we expect this to come down? Like 2.0, is that going to be a financial services company? Will they be giving wealth management and advice, or?
They just said financial services.
Let's
you know,
see.
yeah,
Let's see,
that's
it's
how
interesting.
Semaphore put it. But anyways,
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? But in Abu Dhabi, like everything's been, all these new companies are like ministries, but they're companies, and they've got all these quirky names, all with numbers and letters like that are
2.0,
short.
G42, which is also chaired by Sheikh Tahnoon, and then there's MGX. But it was lovely talking to you today, Richard. We have a really special guest who's coming up, so wait up and tune in. It's okay, I could tell. No, rightfully so. The summit looked so, I got FOMO. Welcome back. Today we have a special guest joining us, Zeeshan Ijazz, partner at KPMG and an elected council member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan. With a wealth of expertise in finance and consulting, Zeeshan has built an impressive career rising through the ranks at one of the world's most leading and professional firms. Zeeshan, welcome to this show. Thank you so much for being here today. And just to start, just so we can all get to know you together, can you tell us a bit about your background and how you started your career?
Well, that's something interesting. The part of the world which I come from, generally the preferred professions are engineering, law, or medical. Exactly. So typical to that. My parents wanted me to be a doctor, interestingly. But somehow I couldn't get through, and that's where the flip came. Exactly. And I still remember one of my friend, he wanted to appear for the finance professions entry test at that time. And I also volunteered. He proposed me that, and let's proceed on with that. So we prepared for that. And that's how I got into this profession. And then since then, it's been almost more than 30 years.
Wow, 30 years.
Yeah.
And, speaking of this profession, what motivated you to join KPMG? And, how did your journey unfold into becoming a partner, which is a really great achievement, by the way?
Well, actually, number one point is that KPMG being one of the leading global firm. So this is something, an opportunity for me to be part of that. So effectively, everybody wanted to be part of the big leading firms and obviously the KPMG. So I got the opportunity through and somehow managed to get through. As far as the partnership is concerned, this is something I would say have been in KPMG for almost, you can say, 28 years and have been a partner almost 16 years now. So this is something I believe working in the firm, its culture, and the topmost I would rate is the independence I achieved. Independence I enjoyed there. They gave me the independence and something which kept me motivated to going up the ladder.
What kind of independence? And independence out of what?
Independence at work, basically. I mean, how to take things forward. There are definitely, you can say, there are protocols to be followed. But as far as what clients, how to take care of that, how to manage that thing, I mean, they don't, my leadership have been there not to get into the nitty-gritties. It's my job to get the things done. And considering the ethical values and all those protocols to be followed, yes, that's there. But in addition to that, I have to achieve the ultimate objective. So that kept me motivated, being part of the firm.
Right, I see. And, we were just talking and you were telling me about how you're from Lahore in Pakistan. You're based here now, right?
No, I'm based in Lahore, Pakistan. I've been moving around quite a lot.
You've been moving, and do you enjoy moving around?
Oh, I love that.
Really?
I really love that.
Oh, that's so interesting.
I mean, I've been telling my colleagues that it's more like I'm based in Lahore, but it's more like past year or so, it's been like visiting Lahore. No, instead of most of the time I'm moving around.
What feels like home to you?
Sorry?
What feels like home to you?
It's wonderful. Wonderful, exactly.
Okay. So for the next question, you're also an elected council member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan. Can you please share your journey about that?
Well, it's slightly different, a bit challenging, I would say. But the important part I would really like to highlight, it's more related to giving back to the profession, my profession, chartered accountancy, the finance field. So coming to your point that what keeps me motivated, I would say the support I've been getting from my fraternity, my members, that's the point which ultimately keeps me motivated. And the support is ultimately for the betterment of the fraternity and the institute. So we are moving towards the same objective we all intend to do, we want to do, and I believe that's something which have been keeping me motivated to be on the track and doing something for the institute.
I see. And, for everyone who's motivated and
Yeah.
they're trying to do something with their life,
Yeah.
what are the most important qualities for success, not just in your line of work,
Yeah.
but, for people who want to do something with their life? What would you have to say to them?
I would say there are 2-3 things which needs to be kept in mind.
Yeah.
Number one, the person needs to be very positive mind framed. That's very important because your thought process starts with the thing that how positive you are. If you start thinking negative, generally the outcome is also remote. The positive outcome is also remote. You have some hesitation, you have ifs and buts there. So you need to be very focused and positive, number one. Number two, I believe you need to be solution oriented. In our part of the field, I would say that you need to be going with the mind frame that let's sit and there must be a solution to that. When you work with this mind frame, you ultimately find a solution. And what's written in the law, that's an important part. But how you interpret it and that feeling has to be there, basically. And apart from that, on the top of it, you need to be ethical. Because all these things combined, your client trusts you. And they trust you as if you are doing their job as your job.
Yeah.
That's the most important part, actually. So I believe these are the 3-4 things you need to be kept in mind to take things forward.
And I totally agree with you, by the way. But I want to know, what's one of the biggest challenges that you've ever had in your career?
Well, I
When
think
was a moment
it's
that you couldn't be positive?
Challenges.
Yeah.
I would say. I think that's my challenge is the same, which perhaps most of the organizations have been following. It's more like I would say team building. That's the challenge I've been. And if you talk about the dynamics of the profession I'm in, and when it takes you to the fact of global mobility, that is a challenge, basically. Especially post-COVID, there have been a lot of movements around in different jurisdictions. So to retain the client and retain the team and building the team, that has been the most challenging part in our profession or in our line of field, actually. So this is something I believe have been there.
Okay, and how do you stay motivated during these tough times and during these challenges?
Well, that's interesting. I believe one thing, it's a thought process.
Yeah.
Okay, how you think about that challenge. Okay, if you think it's a hardship, then it's something. It's a deterrent for you to achieve to the ultimate goal. Okay. On the other hand, if you start thinking about it in a manner that, yes, it's a challenge, but it comes with the opportunity. So I believe those challenges, taking it as a way to the opportunity, that keeps me motivated. So the more the challenge, anything new coming up in life keeps me motivated.
So you look forward to things.
Exactly.
You always find something to
that
look
keep
forward
me motivated
to.
and energetic, I would say.
Okay, and the career that you've had, it's been pretty impressive. But what's a turning point or milestone that shaped your entire career in a really significant way?
I doubt there is any specific milestone or a changing point for me. There have been a lot of changing points, and as I mentioned earlier, that a change keeps me motivated. So I need something to be happening in my life at certain time period to keep me motivated. So, I mean, if I start, my parents wanted me to be a doctor. I wanted to be a doctor. But perhaps that's where I started and came into the profession of finance and business. That's one turning point, you can say. Okay, then throughout the career journey, there have been slight different points where either I have been moving around to taking things to the regional level. That keeps me motivated. Something new coming at the regional level, representing the firm at the regional level. And then lately you can say I contested the institute selections 2021. So these are the things, turning points in my life, keeping me motivated and keeping me going forward with the same energy.
And that energy that you're speaking about, it's so interesting because I feel like you'd have really good input for people who want advice on how to maintain a work-life balance. How do you do it, especially with the kind of career that you have? I mean, I study accounting and finance.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be pretty much of a sit in the desk situation.
Yeah.
What advice do you have to people who want advice on that?
Well, to tell you the truth, I seriously disagree with the concept of work-life balance. The reason being, it's practically impossible. Okay, you need to think about it in a different manner, because when we say work-life balance, we try to take the credit of whatever we are doing and whatever routine we are maintaining. Exactly. Actually, it's not the case. You need to go back and think about it in a manner that the credit goes to the people around you, your family, your friends, your colleagues. Ultimately, somebody have to somehow sacrifice something to make you successful. We take credit of work-life balance, but you also contribute something, but everybody contributes something. So I don't know, but there is no thing like work-life balance. Practically, it is something ultimately everybody has to chip in, something to make you possible to go to your ultimate goal. Something. It's a different point of view, but that's what I think.
No, I don't think it's a different point of view. I think you're right in a sense. I think, people who say that they just, they just work 9 to 5, or they just,
exactly.
If you really love the job and you want to put that, that extra step
Correct.
forward,
Correct.
there needs to be more on your part. There always needs to be more on your part.
You need to be smart enough to how to tailor those things. You might be needing, for example, you want to meet the friends at a certain time, okay? And because of your schedule, you are not in a position to meet those friends. Let's think about it. Your clients, what about a scenario, your clients become your friends?
You lost me on that one.
Okay.
I won't lie to you. You lost me
this
on
is an
one-
interesting
on
point.
that
For example, one is your friends.
Yeah.
Okay? And there are others category, which is your clients. Generally, clients are not your friends.
Yeah.
Okay? So what you think, you built up the relationship in a manner that your clients also become your friends. Okay? So and your friends and everybody, you are contributing towards your friends, keeping that relationship, and also at the sideline or during that time, you are discussing the official work also. So same goes for your family and something. So I think it's very different.
Yeah,
It's
I see
different.
what you mean. I think even with clients, in fact, when you're actually a genuine friend with them, you don't have to go and pitch. They'll come to you.
They come to you.
Exactly.
Exactly. And it's all about trust and comfort. That's very important.
I see. And for my next question, how do you approach leadership and managing teams with such a large organization?
Well, I think when it comes to leadership or even the management team, it's all about the first trait or the important part should be you need to be a very good listener. That's where we lack. We try to speak, we jump up to speak actually. So that's where we should be. We should be a very good listener. And secondly comes, as a leader, you need to lead by example. You have to showcase whatever values you have been propagating. Because ultimately what happens, you need to be there. And thirdly, I believe, when it comes for the team, not only you need to be there for the team, you need to be motivating the team, incentivizing the team. That's important. So when it comes to all those large organizations, it's a very, I would say, tricky proposition. you need to be a boss, you need to be a subordinate, you
Yeah.
need to be a colleague. Exactly. So how you manage all those things, I believe on all those things, the important part is you need to be a good listener. And you need to be a very good person in the sense leading by example.
You know, it's really interesting that you say that because, you know, something that my family always tells me is that if you notice, you know, we have 2 ears and we have 2 eyes.
Correct.
And we actually have 1 mouth.
Yes.
And so, you know, the point of that is that, you know, you're meant to listen more than you actually speak.
Exactly.
So I think, you know, you made a really good point there. And, you know, you've told us all about KPMG and your success there, but, you know, what's actually a specific project or achievement that you're really proud of?
Well, I think it's difficult to pinpoint, especially from my perspective.
Yeah.
The reason being, this question should be with the organization, because for me, I had to be there to put my 100%. And frankly speaking, this is something. It's asking a question to a mother, which child you love the most. So effectively, every time I have been trying to contribute, whether it's KPMG or whether it's the institute, my new, I would say, contribution too. So I think it's something coming from those organizations, whether it's KPMG or the institute, that what are the things they have, Zeeshan, Ijazz, have done to come up to that level. So I have a different point here, that it should be coming from the organization instead of myself propagating that I did this, I did this, I did this. Because I did something good, that's why I'm sitting at that status. And for that, there should be a series of things. You have to put in 100%.
Yeah, and you know, just for our final question of the day for everyone, what is advice that you have for young professionals?
Wow.
What's something you can say to a young professional like me?
I think I have a lot.
Go on, tell us.
I believe few things I would like to highlight. Number one, I think there has to be a purpose in the life. Without purpose, you can...
What's your purpose? You never actually said what it is.
Yeah, you are right, exactly.
No, seriously, like what's your specific purpose? Like why do you do everything that you do?
I think I have been doing those things, and purpose changes as you move on.
What is it now?
It varies actually. As of now, as I rightly pointed out, from the institute perspective, I want to make a difference. Okay, something good for the institute. As far as my organization is concerned, that's KPMG. I believe that's something where nobody steps up. I need to step up. Everybody hesitates. I should take the responsibility. I should be there for the organization, ultimately. So coming from your purpose, that's there. The other part is there has to be proper planning for that purpose. Because we do that, but we somehow diverge ourselves into different things and become negative in the sense, what if we are not going to do that? That should be there, but has to be with the positive intent. That brings me to the third point.
Yeah.
You need to be very much positive on things.
Yeah.
Because positive intent has to be there. Has to be there. Lastly, I believe the passion. If you don't have the passion, you might have a purpose, you might have a planning, you might be positive,
Yeah.
but you won't be achieving your ultimate goal.
But don't you think it's also all discipline? Because listen, for the most part, I am a very passionate person, but
Yeah.
I think that, you know, every single day, giving that more than 100% that you
Correct.
discussed,
Yeah.
that requires discipline.
That requires discipline, and apart from that, the feeling that you enjoy what you are doing. There has to be a motivational factor. It's not necessarily always things like your increments, bonuses, or promotions. It has to be something, some goal like you want this to be done. If that particular part is done, when you talk about bonus, increments, promotions, that automatically comes in. That's the point. So I believe these have to be there. And another thing I would like to highlight, you need to be persistent. It's not necessarily that you are always going to achieve what you want to achieve. But you don't need to be discouraged by the failures. There has to be something good coming. You need to be learning what was the failure. You need to go back and do the catharsis. That's very important. So I believe these are the 4-5 factors needs to be there. Ultimately, when you have the ability to take a responsibility, ability to make a difference, then you have the responsibility to do so.
Exactly.
That's
wow.
the important part.
Okay, that was really insightful. Thank you so much for coming
No
here
problem.
today,
Thank you very
Zeeshan.
much for having me
Seriously,
here.
that was a learning experience to hear everything that you had to say. I'm sure everyone feels the same way too. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, everyone. This is Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production under the Augustus Media Podcast Network. Do make sure to follow our newsletter on Smashi TV, and see you tomorrow.